Tyler Bass will try a 44-yard field goal to tie. The wind at his back. The snap is good. The ball put down. The kick is up and no good. Wide right. Wide right. The Bills kicker missed a field goal. Wide right. Jubilation for the Chiefs sideline. 1:43 to go. Bass missing wide right from 44.
Hello, everybody. This is APBA Brian with APBA Baseball Classics, bringing to you the next Picks to Post show, Divisional Weekend. We're joined by Keith White, Tim Cleveland baseball fan, Michael Peterson, and I am APBA Brian. Tell you what, the NFL had a great weekend last weekend. Even the TV ratings were great. Houston and Baltimore drew 31.8 million. Tampa Bay, Detroit, 37.1. Green Bay, San Francisco, 37.5 million. And then the Mahomes-Allen matchup, anybody want to venture to guess what that drew?
50 million.
Over 50 million, 50.39 million.
50 million people?
Good.
Wow.
There's not a lot of TV shows hit over 50 million.
No.
The NFL is doing just quite well.
At least it was a great game. All three of the four were great games.
3 of the 4 were great games. Baltimore is still waiting for the Texans to do something.
Well, to be fair, that is a half true because they were tied at halftime.
They were tied at halftime.
Yes, they were, but
there's no consolation in that. Kansas City was tied with Green Bay at halftime in the first Super Bowl. that was it for Kansas City.
I will say this. Okay, Brian, go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You first.
Kevin, that call from Kevin Harlan is the best call this NFL season.
He's a master.
He's wonderful.
2 scariest words in Buffalo right now are wide right.
Wide right.
Yeah.
I should know that.
I was watching another pick show earlier today. I won't say who it was, but he had a guest on, and he said that he didn't watch the games. I don't know why they're doing a pick show if they're not watching the games. I watch all these. I'm retired. I think I saw all the wild card games. I definitely saw all the division games. But as you said, Tim, 3 of the 4 were outstanding.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I'll admit I kind of wasn't really interested in the Lions and Buccaneers, but
I did not watch the San Francisco game because I was busy watching MMA, the UFC card, which was not too bad.
The San Francisco Green Bay game went right down to the end. It was a good game.
Yes.
And I tell you what, Green Bay has nothing to be ashamed about. They've got a young team. They're the first team in history to have 6 rookies catch touchdown passes on the team, which is very impressive. And Jordan Love, he had a rookie season that would rival, I think, Marino's.
And I would claim that the Packers outplayed the 49ers that night.
Most of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kansas City Buffalo game was also another very good game. Taylor was there. So was Jason Kelsey.
God, yes. Oh, God, yes. That was hysterical.
And then Jason saw a little girl that was holding up a sign that says, "I love you, Taylor." So he went out in the crowd and held her up so Taylor Swift could see that sign.
Bye. Oh, that was just hysterical.
They ran a thing in Kansas City News about how to watch the playoffs and not have a heart attack. And that is a concern for Apple Lori and Apple Brian. I mean, it was touch and go there for quite a while.
It was. Oops. Oh, the stupid.
So actually, we did pretty well on our picks, guys. Everybody was at least 3-1, and Michael, you were 4-0, and I was 4-0.
Mm.
You know,
I
I
knew
wasn't
I
here
had all
last.
four.
I wasn't here last week, but one observation that I kind of seem to make about the wild card weekend, it seemed like it was a easier weekend to go making your picks with the spread that week than it was just straight up. Because I looked at the way I would have done it with the spread, I would have been 5-1, but straight up I was 3-3.
Yeah.
And I noticed the people who put their picks on CBS, it was the same way. Most of them were 5-1 with the spread, but
Yeah.
with the money line, they were 3-3.
So look how close our standings are for the year.
I wonder
Dan-
how Vegas did.
So Dan Manley still ahead. Keith, you moved into second by 100 or thousands of percentage points.
Yeah.
And Harris is in third.
That's
Basically,
one thing.
Keith, Harris, Michael, and Tim and APBA Brian are basically in second place at 60%. And then Rob and Matt McClellan sends in his picks every week. He's a friend of the channel.
Oh, that's all right. It was just fun to watch. It really was. Now we have the big, we have these big games coming up this weekend, and then I don't know if it's this weekend or next weekend they announce the Hall of Fame.
It's the 8th, I believe. It's right before
it
the
is.
Super Bowl.
It's next Friday. It's a week from Friday. Okay,
a week from Thursday, I think.
Thursday, yeah.
We're going to do, just for the fans out there watching us, we're going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to introduce the games as I do, and then we're just going to have a general discussion about the games, and then we want to break down some position breakdowns because both these teams, they've got stars everywhere, and I want to compare these, and then we'll do our picks at the end of that. So our first game up is the Kansas City Chiefs at Baltimore. That game is in Baltimore. Kansas City now is 13-6. Baltimore is 14-4. It's supposed to be 46 degrees Sunday at 2 p.m. when the game's on, with a 46% chance for rain. So it could be a sloppy game. Let's start off taking a look at how these teams got there.
4th and 4, Mahomes. Now going to have to make a play, and nobody does it better than him. There goes Mahomes inside the 10, bursting goal. McDermott did say he's going to go for it. Here's Pacheco into the secondary and running down the sideline and out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. That's how they had success in Week 14. Mahomes with a good fake down the field. He finds Kelsey inside the 30, rumbling down to about the 28. He had A.J. Klein running with him. Jackson has to go. And boy, when he goes right up the middle of the field. 3rd down and 5. Jackson, first down, inside the 5 near the 2. Defensive play caller in the NFL. 2 years in San Francisco, his first in Houston. He's watching Lamar Jackson take it in.
Check backstage. We might have Bob with us. He claimed he was backstage.
I like what they did in the Baltimore. You notice in the Baltimore end zone with the M and the O in gold?
Yeah.
You know what that's for, right?
Yeah, Mo Gaba.
Right. Little Mo. That's right. His mom.
Yeah, I did not see Bob backstage. I don't.
Okay, because he had, let's see here.
Rob, he was there.
Oh, we got Philip in chat. Hi, Philip.
Yeah, Bob at 7 o'clock said he was backstage. I hope he didn't give up.
Yeah.
I see him in chat here.
So,
yeah.
Bob, if you're out there, let us know.
Yeah.
It's just, wow.
So Kansas City got there by beating Miami in the freezing cold game, and then they went to Buffalo and won the Buffalo game. I went through and played these games, all my tabletop football games, drive-by-drive games, game-winning drive.
I saw that. I saw a couple of those games.
Yeah, and Fast Drive. He got the ratings out for Fast Drive. But I think I played the whole playoffs, and I only put a few games up. But, these things go through the season records, and they don't include the playoffs. Here's Bob. There we go. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
There he is.
So they don't include the playoffs. And actually, Kansas City is a different team now than they were during the regular season. So the way my things worked out, Baltimore won the Super Bowl over the Rams. And they blew out the Rams 54-6. That's how the Fast Drive football happened.
Wow.
Oh, poor Pathew. Poor Pathew.
So, Bob, we're doing this a little different. We're going to talk generally about the games, and then we're going to do some position breakdowns. And then at the end of each game, then we'll all go around and give our picks. So jump in there anytime you feel like it.
Well, so this is the 6th year in a row that the Chiefs have made the AFC title game.
Yeah, second only to New England, who's got 8 in a row.
Yep.
Mahomes is taking us home, man. He's, I loved it when we drafted him, but I never envisioned this. That Texas and Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. He's been there every year he's played. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And then has Baltimore lost an AFC title game?
They're hosting. This is their first AFC title game they're hosting in Baltimore.
Okay.
I know that.
I think
But they made this. They made the Super Bowl.
I don't know. Did Pittsburgh beat them, or did New England maybe beat them once?
I think they might have. I'm kind of looking up the thing here real quick.
The talk about Mahomes going into the playoffs is, can he win on the road? I actually think that was a plus for him, because they were excited about playing in a hostile crowd and having the snowball thrown at them and all that stuff. That was that pumped them up. It really did.
2-2. Ravens are.
So the Ravens are 2-2 in championship games.
Games, yes. Lost to the Steelers and lost to the Ravens, I believe.
Does that include the overtime win against the Giants in the 50s?
No, that's only Super Bowl era only.
Oh, okay.
So the 2 times they won the Super Bowl. Was it Tennessee?
Yes, they did, because they beat my Giants in one of them.
They beat Oakland and New England.
Cover story. Tonight, the FBI is warning parents of an increase in
Actually,
teens.
I thought they beat Tennessee in 2000.
Well, let me pull this up again. Okay, so
Somebody's got it.
no, the Raiders beat they beat the Raiders that year.
Oh, that was a Raiders.
That was the Titans was the divisional game.
Oh, okay.
I think possibly somebody's got a TV on, maybe.
No, I don't. I turned mine off.
Okay.
The Howlers are out there.
Lamar Jackson is 2-3 in the playoffs. Mahomes is 13-3 in the playoffs. And I think Mahomes could easily be 14-2. The only reason he missed the New England one was his first championship game was D4 lining up all sides. Chiefs had that game in the bag. Now, the things that are scaring me about Baltimore is over the regular season, they won 11 games over plus 500 teams. And most of those games are not close. I mean, they beat Cincinnati. No, not Cincinnati, but they beat Miami, Seattle, Detroit, Houston, Jacksonville, and San Francisco by an average of 26 points per game. That's dominance.
It is. It really is a dominating thing.
They dominated San Francisco when they went out there just a few weeks ago.
you know, you think you know who's going to go there, and then things happen and stuff happens, and then you have a whole different scenario. You know, I wonder were the Ravens favorite? I don't remember.
No, the Ravens are not.
Ravens
Well,
favorite.
The Ravens are favored in this game, coming up by 3.5. Yeah.
I mean, early in the year.
Oh, what was their odds to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I don't really recall. I think they were kind of probably like the 5th favorite or something.
You know, you hear all about it. Because pretty soon you're going to have
Jacksonville
all
was
the
given
baseball stuff.
good odds, I think. Kansas City, of course. And
While you're looking at that, let's talk about the injuries. Joe Tooney has a right pec muscle that he went out of the game last week. He's going to be questionable. Willie Gay went out of the game with a neck injury. He's questionable. Willie Gay says he's sure he'll be ready to play next Sunday. So I'm not sure about Joe Tooney. And then on the Baltimore side, I think Baltimore is healthier than we are, and I think they're going to get Mark Andrews back. He's been practicing now for 2 weeks. So I think there's a good chance they get their tight end Mark Andrews back for this week.
Oh, really? Andrews if Andrews comes back, that's going to make a bigger difference.
Yeah, and they'll probably use both him and Likely at the same time on certain occasions. Because they like heavy sets. They'll go with heavy sets.
All right, so the Ravens were plus 1,800, so 18 to 1
So
to win the Super Bowl.
Plus 1,800.
That's pretty good value.
They were 2 to 1, so that was 9 to 5. Go ahead.
So the Chiefs were 9 to 5 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if it's 1,800, it's 9 to 5.
That's 9 to 5. Okay. Let's see what the Chiefs.
I learned about all this odd stuff. I was reading an article, and then I have a website that you can just put in the numbers and it would tell you.
It looks like I can actually give. Let's see if I can get all of them. Kansas City was plus 600 to begin the year to win the Super Bowl.
So they were 6 to 1. 6 to 1, huh? Wow.
The Lions were plus 2,500.
Oh, wow. 2,500? So they were 25 to 1 in the real world.
Yep. And I don't think I see anything for we just said the Ravens anyway, so I don't see the 49ers here. Let's see if we can.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into the position breakdowns.
Go ahead, Brian.
Let's start with quarterback. You got Patrick Mahomes and
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. We talked about it last week. Best quarterbacks are making it to the finals here. Mahomes is a 2-time MVP. Lamar Jackson will be a 2-time MVP. I think he'll get it. He'll get it this year, most likely. Hard to pick one over the other. The one thing I'm looking at is Kansas City played a running quarterback last week when they played Josh Allen, and it was not going well in the first quarter. They tried to have Willie Gay spy, and then he got hurt early on, and then we were really lost for the rest of the first half. And I think they ran for about 111 yards in the first half against us. And also Allen went off running against us. But then in the second half, you probably noticed we changed our defense and played a less aggressive defense. And it was like all four of the offensive linemen were kind of Josh Allen spies. They were going to make sure he didn't break through. And then we were counting on our secondary to hold up. And that worked. I don't. What we'll do against Lamar Jackson may be similar than what we did in the second half last week. I think it's a little bit of an advantage to us to have played Allen last week, and then we got Lamar coming up. But we also have one more day of preparation. There's another thing, too, that Andy Reid said after the game in Buffalo. He said that Mike Nagy and his game plan was really deep. They didn't get through it. I mean, sometimes you see games where teams literally run out of things they could try and things that they do. But they said they didn't get very deep. They only ran 41 plays. They had 43 plays, but 2 were kneel downs. So I feel like they've already got a head start, and some of the extra special things they have prepared, probably they'll carry on.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement, because you're going to expand the playbook, especially when you're going against someone like John Harbaugh, who's a really, he's a master of strategy and going for things and trying different things. Reed has some like really fancy plays, some reverses, something like that, just to throw the defense off, because the Ravens defense is so good on a regular format. You gotta throw something oddball to make it.
No mystery between these two coaches. Harbaugh was on Andy Reid's staff for 10 years when Reid was in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So they even coached NFC Championship games together. So there's not going to be a lot of mystery between these two coaches.
Oh no, but something could happen.
All right, let's take a little poll. Who favors Mahomes in this game, or who favors Jackson? First of all, raise your hand if you favor Mahomes.
Oh, I gotta go with Mahomes on this one.
Okay.
We're 5 for 5 here.
They're 5 for 5. The one time Lamar Jackson played in the playoffs in Kansas City, that was several years ago. I thought he panicked a little bit in the fourth quarter when we started coming back. They were ahead of us. But he's much more mature now, and he's a different quarterback than then. Now he's got receivers, and he's throwing more. But I'll tell you what, we may have all voted for Mahomes, but Lamar Jackson is probably the fastest guy on the field.
What's the OU on that?
Picking off right up the middle too, and it was just once he gets past that line of scrimmage, he's going pretty fast.
What's the OU on this game?
It's lower. The other game's 51. I think it's 44 or something like that.
44.
Baltimore's defense is the top defense in the NFL. Kansas City's number 2, so it's going to be lower. Let's talk about the offensive lines. You got Creed Humphrey leading the way for Kansas City, and then Baltimore's also got a great center, Linderbaum from Iowa. Is he a rookie or a second-year player?
I think he's a second-year player.
Second-year player, yeah. Both these offensive lines are outstanding. Baltimore gave up 41 sacks over the year, maybe a little bit better run blocking than Kansas City's. Kansas City's tackles are not generally good run blocking. Although they did a good job last week.
That's the best I've seen the Chiefs run the ball in at least a year or so.
Yeah, they were very balanced. They ran 23, something like 23 and 24, something like that. Very balanced. But Baltimore's also very balanced in their run game. They definitely focus.
I think Baltimore has the better running game, though.
They do.
We'll get to that.
I know.
The better run blocking, you think?
Better run blocking. Yeah.
Not the kind of holes that Kansas City was opening up for them on Sunday.
They do run a lot of heavy sets, and then they got that Ricard, so include him in this picture too. He's like an extra offensive lineman, number 42.
Right.
All right, let's go to the running games. Kansas City will feature Isaiah Pacheco.
Yay, Rutgers.
He's a 7th. We talk about Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant. He's not Mr. Irrelevant, but he was a 7th round draft pick when we picked him. And then Baltimore will feature Gus Edwards and, of course, Lamar Jackson in the running game.
Uh-huh.
So who wins there? First of all,
I-
vote for Pacheco. I'm not voting for Pacheco.
Wow, this is tough.
It
or
is.
Baltimore's running game.
You know, I might take Kansas City's running game because not only you have Pacheco, you have Edwards-Helaire who can catch the ball. He's learning to catch better, and you have Mahomes as a runner. So with that, I would take.
I just think with the Jackson is like at 800 yards or something this year, and and Edwards is around 900. I don't know. Edwards-Helaire was like maybe 350 or something this season. I don't know if there was anybody.
Edwards-Helaire didn't play a whole lot, but when he's played, he's been effective. A 29-yard run last week. The thing that scares me is Jackson is so fast. If he gets away, he could take it to the house.
But then,
especially if
today,
he turns the corner.
And if you put a spy on him, can the spy keep up with him anyway? I mean,
today's running game involves, shovel passes, little, pitches out to the. I mean, you've always had the little pitch outs and stuff, but there's a lot of little short stuff that actually is through the air that kind of looks a lot like a part of a running game. I guess technically it's not, but
some of that might be curtailed if it's raining and sloppy, though.
Yeah.
If it's 46 degrees.
But just as far as pure running, I think the Ravens probably have a little bit more. And we were talking about the offensive line. Have the Chiefs, and you see them more than we do, Brian, the pass blocking, how has that evolved over the season? Has it gotten better on the corner?
It's been good. I think they've only given like 29 sacks, something around that area. They're one of the tops and maybe best in the league in giving up sacks. They had a problem all through the year with holding penalties from Jawan Taylor. But some of that was the referee. After the news came out that he starts early, like Lane Johnson does with Philadelphia, there's a few tackles that do that. Then they started focusing him, and they called about 5 penalties on him in 1 or 2 weeks doing that.
I think over the weekend, I think the officials, I think they were more concerned with their whole interference calls and stuff like that. I think for the holding penalties, I think they were just keeping their flags in their pocket because I didn't see that many offensive holding penalties on the line over the weekend, and I was
Michael Lloyd and I kind of noticed that too.
Focused on the interference penalties and hands to the face and stuff like that. I kind of noticed that.
I know in the wild card game when we were playing Miami at negative 27 degrees, they did not want to throw any flags. Everybody was getting away with everything in that game because they just didn't want to slow the game down.
At least the good news is that we have a good official for the Super Bowl. They announced it today.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk, of course, in Detroit. We're not to the Detroit game yet, but that city feels like the refs are against them. But lately in the playoffs, the refereeing I think has been upgraded. It's been better.
Yeah, it's been a quality of team. You have better quality teams that are playing against each other. So you're going to see good blocking. You're going to see routes being run very well. You're going to see good catches. So I kind of understand that.
Let's go to the wide receivers. Kansas City features this guy.
Yeah, you can put Pacheco on there too. Why not? He catches the ball.
Yeah, he does. But also, Rashee Rice has been developing all year long. He's a legitimate number 1 receiver, I would say now. And then Baltimore has one of the hardest guys to cover, and say Flowers, and they're receiving. And then don't forget the tight ends. You got last week a rejuvenated Travis Kelce. And I noticed too, I don't know if you saw the video of the Chiefs locker room after the game, Andy Reid was saying, It's not time to dance now. We got more work to do. And I think that comment was directly directed at Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Oh,
No, I think honestly, I think
really
it was
do.
more directed at Harbaugh. If you saw the dance he did after his win.
Yeah, I don't think Andy Reid cares if Harbaugh's dancing, but he does care if Travis, because he's been wanting Travis to get some rest toward the end of the season, and he didn't look 34 years old last week. He looked like a rejuvenated Travis Kelce.
And then, go ahead, Brian, Keith. You were first.
Well, I was just going to say there was something about the Buffalo turning off the hot water on the Chiefs and the locker room.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that.
So the showers were cold.
Well, maybe
they probably, again, that's part of the NFL. One time, John Madden, he learned that his locker room in Oakland before he played the Chiefs was infested with mice and roaches. So he sent the exterminator away until after the game. And Warren Hangstrom. Oh, by the way, we do have a bit of a mice problem in your locker room.
You know,
that's common.
The other one is that when did MVS find his talent?
I can't believe they keep putting him on the field, but boy, he made 2 huge catches.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I was like, those weren't easy. One of them wasn't very easy, and so I was like, okay, so if he could get 2 or 3 good down the field catches,
yep,
that sure helps because.
That was so helpful. Our offense looked like our offense of the previous 5 years.
Yes.
We had the ball for what was it?
You talking about Valdez-Scantling?
Yes.
40. We ran 41 plays, and we scored 27 points. Talk about efficiency. 6.5 yards a play. That's our offense of the last 5 years, but not this year. And that was one of the keys that they had to pay attention to MVS after he made those 2 catches.
And is Beckham anything? Is he just a shell of what he used to be?
He's not done much in the playoffs.
No, he is.
He only had 1 catch, I think, last week.
You know, Baltimore's got some great tight ends. We're talking about Likely, number 80.
Yeah.
And they think they're going to get Mark Edwards back.
You mean Andrews?
Mark Andrews.
Mark Edwards.
Andrews is supposed to be back.
Wow, for the edge.
I would.
The
receiving.
We didn't vote on the wide receiver. Let's do wide receivers first. How many?
I would give it to Baltimore. I really would.
If Valdez-Scantling can step up the way he did last week, I'll give this to Kansas City.
Yeah, I think I'm with Kansas City. Also, probably the other 3 of you with Baltimore on wide receivers.
It can go either. It can go either way. It's like
Is Tony still a guy that they're putting out there very much? I didn't really.
He did not get on the field.
No.
Okay, well, I mean, I really do like what Kelce offers, and Rice.
Hardman. I don't know if Hardman's going to be back too after that fumble on the goal line. Andy Reid is a stickler for ball security, and Hardman's been here long enough to know better. I mean, somebody said that Andy probably talks about that a dozen times a year about ball security. And there was no ball security. Both times he had the ball, so he might not be on the field in this Baltimore game. We'll see.
You know, that one play at the end zone, that was a very, very, very tough call. I don't think you could blame the receiver for that. I just thought that the defender was able to punch the ball out at the right time.
He did not have that ball secured, and the ball was exposed, and he was able to punch it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he wanted to do the reach over thing, and Andy Reid is against that. So I don't know.
Mahomes would be better with the Ravens receiving core or with one he has.
I think
he would be with the receiving. I think it's the one that he has.
I'm tempted to say Chiefs on that, just because outside of Flowers, I mean, Likely, I kind of like what he does. Andrews, if he's coming back, that could be a factor. But I think I like what the Chiefs have, just not by a huge margin, but I just trust them a little bit more.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the old days when they had the board on it, and Irv Cross and them would have the check marks and all them, and they would have the double check. They would have, who would have the advantage of it. In this particular case, I think it would be a check mark on both teams. I think it's that close.
Yeah. Now, when we're talking about the tight ends, keep in mind that Buffalo's linebackers last week were decimated. They only had 4 linebackers going into the game. One of them got injured, and I think 52 was kind of playing with hurt. So Kelsey had a field day against a really hurting linebacker core.
It's going to be a lot different with that linebacker core.
Yeah, Baltimore's linebacker core is one of the best in the league, if not the best.
Mm-hmm.
You got Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen.
And that's accommodating to good coaching. To really good coaching.
So who favors the Chiefs on tight ends and Baltimore on tight ends? Well, first of all,
I would favor Kelsey.
Yeah.
I would favor Kelsey. Not big, but I would favor him.
Yeah, I'd go with Kelsey.
I think between each of these teams, there's no one big advantage. Whether it's offensive line or defensive line or quarterback, if it's one team, it's just really close against the other. It's not like they got it. Wow, big advantage there. No, it's like it would be like one of those 3-inch, one of those measuring sticks where it's like 2 or 3 inches to get the first down.
Now let's look at the defense, and let's start with the defensive line. I forgot to put Chris Jones' picture up there. He was in the introductory video, but you got Chris Jones, George Karlaftis for Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And then Baltimore features Metabuke. Let's see. I think I put his picture up, but I am not.
Who had more sacks on defense?
Metabuke, I think, would be the one with the most sacks. Yeah, I forgot to put his picture up also. But Chris Jones, I think, made the play. People aren't talking about this, but when he pushed number 73 back into Josh Allen in the fourth quarter when he was trying to go for Gabe Davis in the end zone, who was open, the reason he didn't complete that pass is because Chris Jones pushed his blocker into Josh Allen as he threw the football. I think that was the single biggest play in that game. But Buffalo's defensive, Baltimore's defensive line's better run defenders than Kansas City.
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are. So that's going to be a really big key to Kansas City's offense to see if they can get their running game going.
Yeah, and stop Baltimore's running game. They were able to stop Buffalo's in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But they're capable of stopping running games, but that's not generally how they defend. So who favors Chiefs defensive line?
I do. I like Baltimore's. I'm sorry. I like Baltimore's defensive line much better. I think
I would take the Chiefs because Karlaftis has been a beast. And Jones.
I mean, I take Chris Jones, but I think as a whole, I think the Ravens defensive line.
I think I kind of agree with Jones.
You think the Ravens will put more pressure on Mahomes than the Chiefs put on Jackson?
Well,
no, because Jackson moves too much.
Well, I mean, pressure is kind of, okay, what are they going to – pressure meaning that they force him out of his spot.
Yeah, and then if there's any little gap in the front, if you take Jackson, he could get surrounded, but then find a little crack or a seam and dart out the field for 15, 20 yards.
Forcing either of these quarterbacks off their spot is really not a big deal.
No.
Last week Josh Allen, he was amazing when he was 1 yard away from the sideline. He's still completing passes. And most quarterbacks aren't that way.
Telling you,
Now let's go to the linebackers. Kansas City features Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil also, Leo Chanel, and then Baltimore features Prati Queen, Roquan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would favor Baltimore's linebackers over Kansas City's. But Kansas City's are good.
But it's kind of funny because you watch Bolton. I observe in a different way. I noticed how the Chiefs and the Ravens, they get if they can't get their hands on it, they get their hands up to deflect the ball. I think those two teams deflect more passes than I've ever seen in a game.
They do.
The third team that I noticed that are the Jacksonville Jaguars. They put their hands up if they know they can't get to the quarterback, and they get their hands up and they deflect the ball off their arms and their wrists or whatever. And then you have the linebackers who can. Who was that one linebacker that made the key interception late in the game?
For Baltimore?
For Kansas City.
We didn't have any interceptions. We almost had one. Snead knocked a pass that was going to be intercepted. Or Trent McDuffie knocked a pass that was going to be intercepted, but I don't think we had any picks.
Okay, but they do deflect the ball a lot. I noticed.
Yeah, both lines do that. And bear in mind, Lamar Jackson's delivery is 3 quarters. He's not over the top. He has a 3-quarter delivery. All right, let's go to the secondary. Kansas City's secondary is led by L'Jarius Sneed,
right,
number 38, and then Baltimore is led by Marlon Humphrey, number 44. Sneed gave up his first touchdown pass last week.
Yep, they were talking about that one. And it was a clean touchdown, too.
That was a clean touchdown right at the flag. I mean, right at the flag. So how many favor Kansas? I favor Kansas City's secondary over Baltimore's. Although Kyle Hamilton is a stud at safety as well for Baltimore.
Yeah, this guy, yes. Again, I would favor Kansas City, but not by, again, it's real close. It's inches.
Oh, that was another injury. Mike Edwards is one of our safeties is in concussion protocol. When that game started last week, Justin Reed and Mike Edwards were just plastering people. They were heat-seeking missiles, hitting, and Mike Edwards ended up with a concussion. So I don't know if he'll be available. So maybe we should favor Baltimore secondary. Although Tamari Connor is very good also.
I don't know if it. Oh, okay. I don't know, but maybe it might be better for Kansas City to have the earlier game because they've been playing at night and they've been playing in the real cold weather. And don't you think that kind of affects the way their defense hit?
No, they say they'll play anywhere. They'll play you in a CVS parking lot. They'll play anywhere at any time.
They have Anthony in the
Hi, Anthony.
Hi.
I'll be interested in the CD recipe.
Well, I think we've talked this first game to death. Let's go around and make our picks. Keith, you want to tell us who's going to win this game?
Oh, I'm going back and forth on this one so much the last couple of days. To me, it's just hard to go against Mahomes and with Lamar Jackson. But then I think, well, the Ravens' defense is pretty good. They're at home, and they might be able to break off some more big plays on the ground. Both of these teams, well, last week at least for the Ravens, first half it was tied against the Texans. Then when the second half started and it was like, okay, Lamar, do your thing. And he started running for big gains up the middle. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that against the Chiefs. Not like he did in that third quarter against Houston. But when it comes down to throwing the football, I just trust Mahomes a little bit more. And I don't know. I kind of have a feeling Kansas City's pass defense might be a little bit better than Baltimore's. Not by a lot, but I just wonder if there's going to be a turnover or something there. Kansas City, to me, is a team, though, that typically, not always, but typically has a slower first half. And then since Mahomes has been there, and then they can still put up to 30-something points in the game with an explosive second half. I think this year, though, maybe they've had some games where they've gotten off to a better start. Having said that, I like the Chiefs in this one in a close game to pull it out. I'm not saying the Ravens don't have a chance, but I trust the quarterback for the Chiefs a little bit more. And I just don't know if the Ravens are going to be able to get the big running plays that they're going to need out of Jackson in this one.
I thought I was going to be on an island. Rob couldn't be with us tonight. He's picking Kansas City. Harris is picking Baltimore. Tim, who do you got?
For reasons, I think that they maybe found the passing game. Plus, I think Mahomes just knows how to win. And I'm not saying this stage is going to be too big for Lamar, but I think the Chiefs defense can come up with key pressures when they need it. So that's why I'm going to say Kansas City 27, Baltimore 20.
Wow, surprised. Michael?
You know, we're talking about offensive, defensive lines and quarterbacks and all these positions. There's a lot of other variables in this game. First one, the kicking game. Who has the advantage over that? Justin Tucker, the Hall of Famer someday, over Kansas City's kicker, who's also very good. The key factors to me are going to be the weather. Is it going to rain? It's going to be
It's a good chance.
40%.
There is a chance of rain. It's going to make will it make the passing game better or worse if it rains? You're playing on grass. You have Baltimore's. Oh my God, their freaking crowd is like real loud, and everybody's gonna be out there. They're gonna be cheering. Ray Lewis will probably go in the locker room and give an inspirational talk. Harbaugh's going to do his thing. And then you have the Chiefs with Andy Reid giving their talk. Yeah. It's just going to be a wild scene in Baltimore. Kansas City does have a great chance to win this game. I just think that they've played too many games. They've played both their games in the night, and it gives them maybe a fresh breath with a day game, and they don't have to worry about bundling up and being cold. So it's going to be a real close game, but I thought about it, and I think it's going to be time for a change. I think Lamar Jackson's going to find a way to run close to 100 yards and find a way to get his receivers in the game. I'm going to take Baltimore, but I'm going to take them 27-24. Do not be surprised if this game goes into overtime.
I'm thinking more like 23-16. I don't think it's going to be real high scoring.
Well, again, I think it depends on the weather. To me, that's a big factor.
It's going to be 20-16.
Yes, Casey shows up their D against quarterback runs from last week.
Yeah.
More close one. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Bob, who do you got?
I think we never talked about it, but I think it's a close game, I think Baltimore's going to win it with the kicking of Tucker.
Actually, he missed more field goal attempts than Bucker did this year. Bucker, I think, missed 2, and Tucker missed maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, but look how far these guys got to kick.
Oh, I know. They both have a long
It's not
range.
like Tyler Scott Norwood Bass, which is his new name now.
So here we go. Like last week, I said with my mind I was picking Buffalo. With my heart, I was picking Kansas City. I did not expect Kansas City's offense to come together here at the end of the year like it has. So I am going to go ahead and pick Kansas City, and I guess that breaks a tie. 4 of us have picked the Chiefs, 3 Baltimore. It's scary. Baltimore is historically good this year. I mean, they beat some winning teams, and they beat them bad. Now, their defense has given up. Chiefs' defense have given up as many as 24 points twice. Baltimore's defense has given up 24 points twice, but they've also had 2 30-point games. Cleveland got 30 on them, and there's another team, I forget who, got 30 on them as well.
Yeah,
the Rams, I think, might have got 30 on them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was the Rams. Yep.
Yeah, that game went to overtime.
See, that's what it boils down. It's what it boils down to. It's just a game. It's like it's that close with the statistical. That I wouldn't laugh at anybody that would pick Kansas City in this game because they're that good. That's why they're the 2 best teams in the AFC. Could it be the championship game? Nah.
All right, let's go to the next game. We got the Detroit Lions. They are the number 3 seed. They're 14-5 now. They're going to San Francisco, the number 1 seed. They're now 13-5. San Francisco is favored by 7, and the weather is supposed to be 69 degrees and partly cloudy, which is good news for San Francisco because I don't think Brock Purdy plays very good in the rain.
He's another.
And that showed up last week. Now let's take a quick look at how both of these teams made it to this point.
Have taken a lot. Philly and Dallas losing for them to jump to the 2 seed. They are the 3. Goff strokes it in the middle. Reynolds is on fire against his own team to the 10-yard line. And Josh Reynolds. Sean White the back. Picking up any pressure that may come. Here comes that pressure. Mayfield in the middle, intercepted! It's Derek Barnes! It's off to San Francisco for the Lions!
Stay there, stay there, stay there!
Play clock's winding down.
Run, cut!
They get it off. McCaffrey, right side, big seam, cut, 30. McCaffrey! Touchdown, San Francisco!
He's got a chance here to match.
Realistically, need at least 25 yards. Love. Pressure up the middle. Runs away. Throws across his body! And that is picked! 49ers have it! Greenlaw! Still up. He needs to get down. Greenlaw still on his feet.
He's got to go down.
Just go down and the game's over. San Francisco takes over.
That was quite a game.
It
By the
was.
way,
I love doing his
like
best
that.
Brett Favre impersonation there, throwing across his body late in the game.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but it's about the only real mistake he made in that game, and he had an impressive season for sure.
I just want to say I'm really starting to get more and more impressed with that team of Burkhardt and Olsen. I think they do a great job together.
Who? Kevin
Greg
Burkhardt.
Olsen and Kevin.
Broadcasting team, yeah.
Yeah, but you know there's going to be a big problem next year
What's that?
because
With
you know.
Tom
Yeah.
Brady allegedly.
Yeah, they're talking about putting Greg Olsen to the number 2 team. So for me,
He'll be probably pretty good. He analyzes games.
you know what? Kevin Harlan and Greg Olsen, I'd pay to watch that.
I don't think Olsen's a good fit with Harlan, though.
You don't think so?
No.
I do.
Harlan and Green have been a good fit. They're both from Kansas City. They both like each other.
I really like the job that Noah Eagle did too with the
yes. Ian has raised him well.
I just think Todd Blackledge was too couldn't wait to get his words out. If they could put somebody else with him, because it seemed like Blackledge was just itching to go on every play.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Todd Blackledge.
Yeah.
Oh.
This game, I think Detroit might be motivated because, as you know, who gets people motivated better than Dan Campbell? And they have a lot of grit. There's no quit in the Detroit Lions. One thing about Detroit, their pass defense is a little shaky as opposed to San Francisco's.
Yeah.
But Hutchinson is going to be getting after Purdy. I don't think he will be trying it from Trent Williams' side. That's one thing I'll be looking to see where he lines up. Aiden Hutchinson against Colton McKivitz or against Trent Williams. Probably he'll go from McKivitz's right side. San Francisco's in this game for the fourth time in 5 years. They only won it once. They beat Green Bay.
Yeah.
Detroit's a little more healthy. Deebo Samuels is questionable.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and the record, San Francisco's record without Deebo is not nearly as good as with him. 53 and 29 with Deebo playing.
What's the story with Ayuk?
Not playing.
He's not playing?
Who's not playing for San Francisco?
If Deebo Samuels doesn't play, San Francisco's record is 8-9. He's questionable. He couldn't play last week.
Brandon Ayuk, is he on the injury report?
I couldn't say for sure. I'm not familiar with that injury.
Okay. This is the worst line I think I saw about this is that the Detroit Lions officially have more NFC Championship game appearances in this century than the Dallas Cowboys.
Wait, there's only two teams. There's
and
only
the
two
Commanders.
NFC teams that have not gone to the Super Bowl this century. Keith, you would know the answer to that one.
There's 4 teams that haven't gone to the Super Bowl.
But two NFC teams.
Okay, yeah.
In this century?
That's easy.
Yeah.
Well, Dallas, Washington, and Detroit. None of the three.
It's Dallas and Washington. The two NFC teams that have not been to the Super Bowl.
The Lions have not been to the Super Bowl ever.
Ever in Seattle?
Well, the Vikings haven't been either. The Vikings
haven't been either. So you might want to look at that stat again there, Michael.
They showed it on the news. They showed it on ESPN this morning.
The news is messed up because they.
That's
am I wrong about Washington?
No.
Okay.
And you're not wrong about Dallas.
So we could say that San Francisco's got more big game experience than Detroit has. Big game experience.
Yeah, seeing I was 12 the last time, or 11 the last time that 11 or 12 the last time the Lions made an NFC Championship game.
But the San Francisco's big game experience edge is not as huge as you might think. Goff has played in the Super Bowl, and
hasn't he won the Super Bowl?
Hold on.
No, he has not.
He didn't win with the Rams. He didn't win with the Rams.
No. And Jahmyr Gibbs has played in a couple national championship games, so there is some big game experience in Detroit.
Dan Campbell. You think he'll win Coach of the Year?
If they get to the Super Bowl, they might.
Well, it's already been decided, but
okay.
Who's
the Coach of the Year has already been decided. All the awards have been decided. They voted.
Oh, they already voted. It's like baseball. They wait on the last day of the season.
It was either Gable or Saleh.
For worst Coach of the Year, yeah, that could definitely be.
Saleh.
All right, let's talk about the quarterbacks. You got Jared Goff
and Purdy
facing off against Brock Purdy. I'm kind of favoring Goff in this game.
I am too. I And I was telling Rob today on chat, I don't know if Purdy isn't the worst of the 4 quarterbacks remaining. I mean, I like what he does. I think he plays well, but Mahomes is probably the best and the most experienced. Lamar Jackson, quite dangerous and can take off running on you even if other stuff breaks down. And Goff has had a really surprisingly good year. And he's been this far before.
Right, and he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, he's playing very well right now. So I like Goff at quarterback. Anybody else have a different opinion?
I like Goff. I like Goff over Purdy. I think Goff is more an intelligent type quarterback, while Purdy just seems to run around, and sometimes he'll make a very foolish decision or throw a pass with to a possible receiver, and then there are 2 defenders right there, and sometimes he doesn't know where he's looking at. The only problem with Jared Goff in my world is that Purdy outdoes that in the running department. If Goff has to scramble, scrambling is kind of scrambling and running is kind of tough on him. Purdy is younger, and I think has the better leg motion to do that.
I didn't know that either one of them were really known for running with the ball.
No, they're not. But
no,
you know, I would still give the advantage to Purdy over Goff.
One thing about Goff, he's very even keeled. By looking at him, you can't tell if he's winning or losing, or if he just threw an interception or a touchdown. Very even keeled. So, how many favor Detroit's quarterback? Raise your hand.
Oh, I have to.
I think I will too. And how many favor Brock Purdy?
No.
I think Bob fell asleep.
So,
I hope Bob didn't fall.
So
he might have.
He might have. So we got an edge to Detroit on quarterbacks. Let's go to the running backs.
The check mark goes to the 49ers.
It goes to the Lions.
Look at Jamar Gibbs is a similar running back as Christian McCaffrey.
Oh yeah.
Both catch the ball. Both are threats for long gains, but nobody's had a season like Christian McCaffrey at running back position.
Well,
so
the Lions
season
close to 1,000 yards.
Plural. The worst thing that Carolina did was to trade McCaffrey for all those draft picks, and the 49ers have been blessed with him.
I'll easily this edge goes to the 49ers.
Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody would say 49ers. Let's go to the offensive line.
Yeah.
Detroit features Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow. And then the San Francisco 49ers, of course, feature Trent Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trent Williams is the best lineman on the field, but I kind of favor Detroit's offensive line.
Detroit's line is good. They wouldn't have gotten where they are without the blocking of the line. Who had more Who was sacked more?
It didn't seem like
Purdy was sacked
more
more than
Trent
Goff.
Williams had the best of games this last game against Green Bay. It seemed like he had some penalties and some other issues that came up at key points in that game, and they survived it. But I don't know. I haven't really noticed any weaknesses with Detroit's offensive line that concern me too bad. But
they're better at reporting to the referee eligibility.
That's true.
Yeah, they get right up there and here I'm eligible. I'm eligible.
Well, wasn't that the referee's fault? I don't think it was the player's fault.
No.
He did what he was supposed to do.
All right, let's go to wide receivers. Oh, we didn't take the vote. Detroit's offensive line.
Yeah,
I think a little
that
bit.
one too.
Yeah, a little bit.
San Francisco's offensive line. Tim likes San Francisco's offensive line.
No, I'll go with Detroit. But yeah, I think
Detroit.
Detroit's a little bit better.
All right, wide receivers. Detroit features Amon-Ra St. Brown.
with his blue hair.
The Hollywood blue hair, yeah. And then you got Brendan Ayuk, and San Francisco's really hoping that this guy is on the field.
Yes, they are.
Though, they can brag all they want about San Francisco's receivers and whatever. There's one little wild card for Detroit. I don't know if it's 8 or whatever.
Josh
Reynolds.
Yeah. He had a good game.
I've been a Josh Reynolds fan since anytime he comes into this game, he just makes it happen. I know he's had some bad games in the years, but last week he made about 2 or 3 catches that kept Detroit in the game. I think he's a sneaky receiver that the 49ers have to be really, really careful about. And then you got St. Brown, and I think they have a third receiver that isn't too bad over there. So
I can't name anybody other than Ayuk and Samuel. They
have Ronnie Bell, and the only reason I can name Ronnie Bell is because he's from Michigan and he grew up in Kansas City.
Okay.
I remember him playing for up north.
So in my world, I would favor Detroit's receivers over San Francisco's. But again, there's that little inch again. There's that little itty bitty inch.
Now,
I'll go San Francisco only because if both the Ayuk and Samuel are playing, their 1-2 punches is way better than.
Yeah, that's the wild card. We got to know if Deebo Samuel is playing or not.
Right. They probably won't say anything till game time.
I think the Lions are well represented at the position, but if Samuel is there, that gives them a little bit more danger, that they're a little more of a threat.
All right, the tight ends, we got Sam Laporta for Detroit.
And
rookie from
possibly
Iowa. And George Kittle for San Francisco.
Now, the Lions did sign Zach Ertz to the
practice
squad.
And he may get on the field.
Oh, San Francisco.
Well, that's because their number 2 tight end's injured. They need a backup tight end.
Oh, but that's Sam Laporta. Ooh. I know
he's
he
a
doesn't
go-to guy.
I know he got hurt. He's been hurt and stuff.
Yeah, he's still playing well.
He plays. He plays. I don't know where he went to college.
Iowa.
No wonder.
Same place Kittle. Both went to Iowa. Yeah. Kittle and Laporta.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. No wonder.
Well, but
Kittle's good too. Kittle's
Rob
good
Gronkowski.
Too. I'll tell you though.
Big, but to me, Kittle is Rob Gronkowski. He's a threat anywhere on the field. I'll take Kittle over Laporta and or Zach Ertz.
Though that those tight ends and as a fantasy fan,
somehow we lost.
Like tight ends like Laporta. Laporta wasn't much thought. Laporta's going to be a high draft pick, a high draft area. Also,
next year, yeah.
Kittle's getting older. But
he's a good blocker. He's very good in the run game. He loves blocking.
Yes, he does. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Kittle and Laporta, probably 2 of the better tight ends in the NFC.
How many favor Detroit's tight end? How many favor by raising
I think
I would go with
one on the field, but
probably Kittle.
Yeah, probably Kittle.
I would go with Laporta. I've seen him play.
I think I would go with Laporta too, Mike. If you watch him run his route, he is so technically perfect the way he runs.
Thank you, Brian.
Very crisp
exactly what I was thinking.
And he's always coming back to the quarterback and the ball when he catches his balls.
You see that touchdown catch he made last week when he was in the back of the end zone? and I didn't know if he had both feet in, but then when you saw the replay, you saw that 1 foot in, and then he dragged that other foot in the back of the end zone, and then I'm like, wow.
Okay, now let's look at the defenses. We got Aiden Hutchinson for Detroit, the primary defensive lineman.
Michigan zone.
Yep, and I did forget to put Nick Bosa's picture up here. So we've got Bosa against Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, you got Bosa and Hutchinson. They're both good. What about? Isn't there somebody on Detroit's line that also is just as good? Then
Hutchinson's on a defensive end.
They've got a good defensive line, but I don't think there's anybody just as good as.
I like Hutchinson.
And Hutchinson's been getting about 2 sacks a game for several games in a row. He's been very effective.
He's just a very good He's just a very good motivator. He really is.
I don't know if it was the offensive line of Green Bay, but they were having a lot of success running to their right side, where Chase Young is lined up for the 49ers at GM.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that speaks
That's
of
right. The Niners got Chase Young
over there not being strong against the run, or if that was just Green Bay's blocking on that side.
Green Bay's got a very good offensive line.
Yeah.
But so does Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I would favor Hutchinson and the Lions defensive line.
Yeah, I would favor Hutchinson again with that. But I haven't heard much of Chase Young since he got traded. Has he made much of a difference?
He had a good game, pretty good game last week, I thought. But
and then you have the defensive linebackers and the defensive backs. That one I would. Oh.
Yeah, linebackers. We got Jack Campbell,
mm-hmm.
also from Iowa, and then they have Avalone, Detroit. San Francisco has got this guy.
Yeah.
Fred Warner and Reggie Greenlaw.
Yeah.
Fred Warner I think is a big edge at linebacker for San Francisco.
Could he be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I think so. The first time Kelsey played him, nobody was shut, like his Kelsey's second or third year. He shut Kelsey down. Yeah, like I've never seen anybody, and I still have never seen anybody shut him down like Fred Warner did. So how many would edge Detroit's linebackers and how many San Francisco's? I would say
San Francisco.
San Francisco too, yeah. DBs, Deion Branch leads the way for Detroit's secondary, number 32. And then for San Francisco, Travarius Ward's been playing very well lately.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that Saturday night was his best game, though, because he was having some problems out there.
Come here, puppy.
I think the secondary for Detroit is the one weakness on their team.
Yeah.
Hello, Phil. What's up, Cooper?
So how many would pick Detroit's over?
Oh, I don't know. San Francisco's linebackers are good, but Detroit
cornerback, Michael.
We're talking secondary.
I missed it. The cornerbacks I'd have to give to San Francisco. Their defense, their back four, they know how to intercept balls, deflect. Detroit is tough. Their pass defense is not the greatest in the world.
Yeah, the Lions give up some points.
But again, it's
all right. Let's go around and make our picks. Keith, who's going to win this game?
I don't know if it's wishful thinking or what, but the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm biting on this temptation to take the road team in the upset with the Lions. I just have a feeling the Lions offense is going to have a good, solid game here, and that the 49ers are going to make a couple mistakes. Again, I like Purdy. I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't know if he's going to do it this way. I don't know if this is gonna be his time to shine yet. I think Goff, I just feel like he's gonna do something special this week. If I'm gonna pick a final score, I'm gonna say the Lions maybe 30-24. I just have a feeling that they're going to hit on their passes a lot, make some big plays. 49ers will have a few, and McCaffrey will make his plays too, but I just have a feeling that this is going to be kind of like when 87 when the Vikings went in there and Anthony Carter had a big game. I just kind of have a feeling that this game's going to kind of be similar to that. Somebody for the Lions as a receiver, maybe it's St. Brown, maybe there's a combination with him and Laporta. I just have a feeling the Lions are going to pull the upset in this game.
Tim?
Not that the Lions will get blown out, but to me it looks like the Lions are hungry. I'll say that much, but don't know if their roar is going to be so big this week. I'll take the 49ers to win. I'll say 30-20. 30-20.
All right. Michael?
Again, another factor is the kicking game. I think the Lions have a little bit of an advantage on that. It's going to be a very good game for the Lions fans that are going to be watching it. This is like it's just the Lions season has been a very memorable one. NFL Films is going to have a good time dealing with this and making a good Lions retrospective. The 49ers are probably I could say the best team in the NFC. You know, at one time they weren't because Philadelphia was. The Lions have always been under the shadows. They've been under the shadows all year long with Campbell. You know, I thought it was going to be a tougher game to pick, but the home field advantage of San Francisco is going to make a difference. Another home team victory. I think Detroit is going to be dealt with the pressure because they've never really been in this situation before. And even though Jared Goff has been, the rest of the team doesn't. And Shanahan definitely will have some tricks up his sleeve. And I think he has the edge over Dan Campbell in the coaching and the discipline department. So I'm going to say the 49ers are going to win the game. I don't think it's going to be as close as everybody thinks it is. I think San Francisco is going to win 31-17.
Okay, Bob.
San Francisco had a little tough last week. They just barely beat Green Bay, and I think it's going to be Detroit 17, San Francisco 10.
Whoa! Nice.
You're looking for a defensive game. I think it's the over-under is in the 50s, like 51 or something like that.
Yeah.
That definitely could happen. Harris is picking Detroit with you also. And Rob is picking San Francisco.
So here's a type. Well, Anthony picked San Francisco. I think.
Anthony picked San Francisco.
Yeah.
Who do I pick? I'm kind of the same way as I was picking with my heart. My mind says San Francisco. My heart says Detroit. I think that if Detroit could go to the Super Bowl, I think that would be wonderful for the city of Detroit. I think
It'll be fun, wonderful.
When Detroit came to Arrowhead the first week and played Kansas City, I was very surprised about the physicality of that team.
They were a preview of the Super Bowl.
it could be the first game. It could be the last game. There's a chance for that. But Detroit is, I think, more physical than San Francisco. At one time, San Francisco was a very, very physical team. I don't think so much this year as they've been the past couple of years. So because of the physicality factor, I'm picking Detroit. Worried about their secondary.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the coaching. They've got a bright Ben Johnson, I think, is their OC.
And some teams are interested in interviewing him.
They always come up with pretty sharp stuff on offense. But Shanahan can't be counted out either. So it's coaching. These teams literally mirror each other. I mean, they've got star tight ends, star quarterbacks, star running backs, great offensive lines. Whichever team knows itself the best will win this game, because they've been practicing. It's like they've been practicing. It's like the Lions have been practicing against the 49ers all year. And the 49ers have been practicing against the Lions all year because the two teams are very, very similar. Unlike the Kansas City-Baltimore game, those teams are different. But not here. These teams mirror each other. But I am picking Detroit.
Okay. There's a reason why these games should not be easy to pick.
Yeah.
Yep. We're down to the final four.
Now, Brian, I have a question for you.
Yes, Michael.
What's the big story in the Kansas City world about your coach? There is a hot story going on that if he takes his team to the Super Bowl, he is going to retire.
Yep, my view is it's possible. One of the network guys, and I forgot the name, I mentioned it last week, came out with that story. And I'm kind of thinking the scenario is if Kansas City, especially if they go to another Super Bowl and win another Super Bowl, Reed may retire and go into like a $1 million year consulting job, because
he should go to TV. He does great commercials.
They were talking about this on TV today, and then maybe they think Mike Vrabel has been very quiet because he's the next one in Kansas City. We can talk about head coaches here. Vrabel, of course, he played with New England, but he also played with, I think his last couple of years, he was in Kansas City. So he's familiar with the ownership. He's familiar with the team. The ownership is familiar with him. And the parts in place. So I think it's not outrageous to think that he might retire if we go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Now I'm hearing the rumors on Belichick going to the Falcons is kind of losing steam.
Oh, big time.
And what have you heard about that, Mike?
I read somewhere this afternoon that that things have been kind of slowing down between Arthur and Double B. I don't know what the feeling is over there. I don't know if it has anything to do with Belichick's urges to come back and rebuild a team with a young quarterback, and maybe he'll want to go after some kind of a veteran quarterback in the offseason. I think it's going to let down some steam. I think they're going to, it's not that they have to make a decision tomorrow. They have I would say they have at least at the most a month to make some kind of a decision. Now, I read somewhere that Cincinnati's OC is gone.
Not official yet.
Where did he go? Did he go to Tennessee?
Not sure yet.
No, I don't.
I know that the guy that got fired from the Saints offensive coordinator position interviewed for the Falcons job as well.
Yeah.
So.
I
I think Harbaugh is still open to the Falcons job also. Harbaugh is looking at
Tennessee's coaching job is still open?
Yes.
Because I know they interviewed the OC of Cincinnati yesterday.
The five jobs that are open currently are Seattle, Chargers, Falcons, Carolina, and Washington.
And then the other rumor I heard this afternoon.
Tennessee hired Brian Callahan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And they're saying that Bill, who was the offensive line coach for the Browns, might join them.
Oh.
Hey,
Bill is very good with the running game. And then Brian Callahan has worked with quarterbacks. He's worked with Manning and Joe Burrow.
Bill is the one that coached the Raiders to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Callahan
in 2002, the Super Bowl,
And then he went to Nebraska, was it, or something?
Yeah, he was at Nebraska for a while. This is good news for Will Levis getting Brian Callahan. I think that's good news for Will Levis.
What do you think about?
They got to figure it out because right now they got 3 quarterbacks, which means they have none.
Well, what
do you think about Pete Carroll talking to San Diego?
Where's Eric Bieniemy going to be next year?
I don't think he's. I don't know if he's ever. I don't think he'll ever get a head coaching job. And there's reasons for that.
His approach to the way he works with the players and kind of grinds.
Well, he was loved over here in Kansas City. He is very hard school, but he gets away with it because he's also very big on relationships. He kind of coaches the way Andy Reid coaches, maybe harder. But he's been interviewed something like 32 times for head coaching jobs, and no owner has ever pulled the trigger for him.
Is that kind of in the same style that Dick Vermeil was, or was Vermeil not so much with the relationships? He pushed.
Vermeil was big on relationships. He did not have Vermeil did not give 5 minutes a day thinking about defense. That was his problem.
He had a decent one in St. Louis, but
he had a good one year in Kansas City, but it was not because of him. He does not think much about defense. Great offensive coach, and he had some tremendous offenses, no question about it.
But he was he worked around the clock. I mean, that guy just.
Vermeil worked. He worked tirelessly.
Yeah.
He was.
And he wanted his players to too, but they kind of said, "Hey, look, you're pushing too hard here."
Now we know Antonio Pierce is nailed down in Las Vegas. And
that is a very good move for the Raiders. Yeah. That is a very, very. I'm sorry, Brian. You're going to get some competition if they can find.
We did last year.
I know. Yeah. Well, he finished 5-4, but if
he beat us,
if they're going to stick with O'Donnell, which I think they should, they have a chance to do business. What's his name? Crosby was ecstatic about Pierce getting the job. He was so ecstatic about that.
He wanted to be traded.
Remember, teams will now have a full off season to,
we still have candidates in waiting until after the Super Bowl because you got Ben Johnson in Detroit, a lot of interest in him, offensive coordinator. Yeah. Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator at Baltimore, there's a lot of interest in him. Todd Malenik, the offensive OC at Baltimore, a lot of interest there. And Steve Wilkes, San Francisco's defensive coordinator.
I can't. He was such a disaster in Arizona. I can't see him.
Yeah.
And people have been talking about Dan Quinn too, like Washington looking at Dan Quinn. I would not look at Dan Quinn.
No, they have to learn. I think these rich owners and they have to learn to kind of move with the times and not have to go to all these old, what they used to call, I don't know if you've heard that, they used to call them retreads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shuffling the deck.
Mm-hmm. If one coach leaves there, maybe he'll be a better fit for this team. That that's why these owners and GMs, that's why you see a big shift in that, because the GM is just as important as the coach that he selects. God, yeah.
Speaking of GMs,
you know who the good coaches were back in the day, the John Maddens, the Dick Vermeils.
Tim, I didn't hear what you said there.
Carolina hired their GM.
Yeah.
Dan Morgan.
Morgan.
If you look at the talent, and I've heard some opinions say that there's quite a bit of it on the Chargers roster right now. Have you installed any of these 4 remaining teams' coaching staffs in total with that roster? Is that a team that's above 500, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
They've got the players. I think they need I think a guy like Belichick would help the Chargers. Over the years, it looks to me like when they get down to the fourth quarter, they just wear out. They just run out of gas. I remember games when Jordy Bosa's tongue was just hanging on the ground by the end of the game.
See, that's lack of discipline, though. That's lack of conditioning.
Yeah, I think that's a team that I think does need a little more discipline. Yeah.
But could a Dan Campbell, you think, step in there? John Harbaugh's staff step in there and turn that whole thing around?
I'm not convinced Harbaugh's going to leave Michigan. I think he's going to play his cards.
I think he is.
Harbaugh, but
yeah.
I think he's going to leave Michigan.
I think he is too, but I'm not convinced about that yet. And the other thing about Harbaugh, I think he would be more interested in coaching in the NFC, so he's not competing with his brother to get into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Brian, but that's when they only play each other possibly either every year if they finish in the same slot or once every 3 years or 4 years because of scheduling. I don't buy that one iota.
You don't think it matters?
I don't know if that's a factor. That's just the way I would think if I were him. Yeah.
That's the way we're thinking. That's the problem.
Then again, they coached each other in the Super Bowl, so
against each other in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And that was huge.
But Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, that is, got his championship in college, so he's got something.
Yeah, I heard John Harbaugh talking about, his dad's favorite saying, who's got it better than you? And he talked about his dad's first coaching job in Iowa when they didn't have a car most of the time. And they would just say back to dad, well, when he would say, who's got it better than you? He says, well, some people have cars.
There you go.
Well, guys, we've been on quite a while, and I think we've hammered out these games. I can't wait till Sunday. I'm not sure I'm going to do a Super Bowl. Somebody may have to talk me off the ledge after next week, but we'll probably do a Super Bowl show the week before the Super Bowl.
So we got a 3 Eastern start and a 6:30. Is that
correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's 2 and 5:30.
But that's not going to happen.
What's that, Tim?
So you got 2 and 5:30.
I wish they would do 1 and 4, but we know that's not going to happen anymore.
I like those days too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2 and 5:30 here in Kansas City.
And then the Super Bowl, and then the UFL.
Yeah.
The combined, not combined UFL.
What is
okay. Anthony and Philip, thanks for joining us on the comments.
Guys.
And guys, thanks for joining me all year long. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And again, Harris's picks were the Lions and the Raiders.
Yeah, Harris has Baltimore and Detroit. Rob has Kansas City and San Francisco.
Yeah,
they did not collaborate.
No,
no, they did not.
I have.
All right.
And they're not both going to be right.
That's right.
Rob's had a tough playoffs. He was 1 and 5 the wildcard weekend, but everybody was 3 and 1 except 2 of us were 4.
Of course, the way we made our picks, we probably covered enough bases that one of us will be right on both games. I think we probably knocked out every combination.
I'm just amazed at how close our standings are through the whole year. Very close.
And that's college and pro together?
No, just the pros.
Just the pros.
Because we weren't consistent on the college. picks. All right, goodbye, and may God bless.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Have a
Bye.
good week. Have a good week and keep warm.